Hello grade 8s and welcome back to math class for term 2. We're starting a new unit or module today on number patterns, and the first micro lesson is going to look at terminology. Our objective for this lesson is to understand all the symbols and words that are used to describe number patterns in high school. Let's say we have a number pattern that looks like the one here. Something you're familiar with from primary school. So the first number is 13, the second number is 16, and the third number is 19. If we look at this pattern the way it's been written, you'll notice some different ways punctuation is used. So this symbol that comes after the 13, it's called a semicolon, and that divides one term from the next. And then the 3 dots at the end shows that this goes on forever. So if we look at all of this, the entire thing is a number pattern. Each number in it is called a term. And then each of the terms can have a name. So this is term number 1, term number 2, term number 3, and we use things like the Terminator movies, and we call it T1, T2, T3, meaning term 1, term 2, term 3. So now let's put our new knowledge to good use and to practice. In mathematics in grade 8 and through high school, we're going to use these symbols and terms to ask questions. So if we look at question number 1 here, it's saying, really, what is term 4? In question 2, we have to figure out which term would have the value of 28. And finally, you've done this before, you need to describe the rule that controls the pattern. What makes this pattern work? Pause the video and take a moment now and try to answer these questions. So if we start with the first question, it's saying, what is term 4? And before, we probably just called this first number, 13, the first number. And this is the second number. And 19 is the third number. But now that we are in high school, we're going to need to do a little bit more work. And we're going to have to call that T1, T2, and T3. And the 1, 2, and 3 just means it's the first, second, or third number. So to find T4, which is really obvious, and I've given you an easier example to start with, we just have to find the next number in the sequence. And if we look carefully here, each and every time we're adding 3 to get to where we're going. So we're going to add another 3, and our answer for T4, the value of T4, is going to be 22. Now, if we look at question number 2, in question number 2, it asks the opposite type of information. We need to figure out which term is equal to or has a value of 28. So that means we need to carry on with our pattern. And if we do that, we're going to get 25. And then we actually are going to get 28, which we're going to be really excited about. And we need to figure out what term it is. And that's going to be term 6. So term 6, the sixth number in the pattern, is going to equal 28. So in high school, we're going to write T6 as our final answer there, because it's more precise and uses mathematical notation. With the third question, we have to describe the rule that is controlling this particular thing, and it's always going to have 2 parts. You always need to look at where it's going to start. And in this case, it starts at the number 13, which we can see up here. And then what's happening each time? We have to look at that and see. And if we look carefully, we'll notice that each and every term, there's 3 that's being added. So we're going to say it starts at 13, and then we're going to add 3 to each term. So now we've covered basic terminology, and we've covered how we can find new information and label it using mathematical notation. For homework, what I want you to do is to practice exercise 1 on page 2 of your handout. And when you've done practicing, I want you to take the short quiz online and remember that it's going to count in a small way towards your Term 2 marks. Good luck. Talk soon. Bye-bye.